and welcome to today's energy update. It is Wednesday, September 27th, and we do these live updates pretty much every Wednesday at 7. Sometimes I don't do a live, but I will always try to provide some kind of an energy update, even if it is a video on YouTube. But let's get started. Hope you all are well. And I'm kind of excited about the energies that we are presently in and that we have coming up for the next month, basically. Happy Libra season to everyone. With Vedic astrology or sidereal astrology, the sun will actually not be moving into Libra until the 17th or 18th of October. But for Western calculations, tropical astrology, we are already in the energy of Libra. So happy birthday month to all of you Libras out there. And of course, if you are Virgo and you just had a birthday, happy birthday. Or if you do Vedic astrology, then happy birthday, Virgo, right? Until the 17th or 18th. So anyway, let's get started. The full moon is coming up. It's actually officially full on the 29th of September. And it will be exact at 5:58 p.m. on the 29th. And this upcoming full moon is a supermoon. And a supermoon, of course, is when the moon is closer to Earth and it's just huge and big and full in the sky, more so than usual. And this is also the harvest moon where it's big and bright and does indicate one of the last harvests that we will be experiencing before we move through fall, the end of fall, and then into winter. So the astrology around this full moon on the 29th is with tropical astrology calculations falling in Aries, of course the fire sign, and then with Vedic astrology still in Pisces. And so, as you know, I like to do like a hybrid of astrology. I like to look at all aspects, considering the Western astrology, considering the Vedic astrology as well. And so when we look at the energy of Aries, we know that this is a very fiery sign. This is the warrior. This is, that Mars energy, very passionate, very determined, right? Likes to fight for the underdog. So you may be feeling some of those kind of fiery, passionate, very page-like energies of the Aries moon. Though you might also resonate with more of that Piscean energy. The Pisces is represented by the two fish that are swimming, but swimming in opposite directions. It's a water sign that really resonates with the energies of dreamy vibes, nuances, imagination, creativity, all of that, right? So when we combine those energies, there very much is a almost like a fresh start, or a almost like a childlike wonder, if that makes sense, with either one of the energies, Aries or Pisces. There's so much potential in both of these signs, and whether you're feeling like you're kind of under the surface, swimming in those currents of the Piscean energy, or you're ready to kind of make things happen, you need to go with that burst of fiery energy of Aries, roll with it. And the full moon, as we know, will not only illuminate anything that is maybe kind of hiding in those nooks and crannies that is has yet to be seen, but there is always a revealing energy with full moons, because right, the moon is full, it is fully illuminated, nothing is in shadow. And with this full moon being a super moon, of course, we're going to feel those effects and those influences quite acutely during this full moon. Now, we have two eclipses coming up, which I'm excited about. I am all for those eclipses, and we have two of them in October. Now, the new moon in October is going to be exact on the 14th, and the new moon will host a solar eclipse. Now, unfortunately, where we are in East Tennessee, either eclipses will actually not be visible to us, but regardless, if we are able to see them, which is always amazing, right? But regardless if we're able to see the actual eclipse or not, the energies are still felt. We still feel that kind of speeding up of a phase or of a cycle within an eclipse. And so, with the lunar eclipse, it is going to be happening during the full moon on October 28th. So, first a solar eclipse and then a lunar eclipse, all in October before Halloween. So, like I said, I'm excited about it. I hope you all are on board too. But this solar eclipse with the new moon it's also called a ring of fire eclipse. So it's not a complete eclipse. So in areas of our country or of the world where the eclipse will be visible, there will be like this fiery red, orange, like magma-like glow, all around the periphery of the moon. There's a very intense energy about that as well, searing away untruths, searing away anything that has been blocked. Quite an amazing energy for us to tap into on the 14th. With tropical calculations, the new moon will be in Libra, as well as the sun in Libra at that time. But then with Vedic calculations, we have the sun and moon in Virgo. So Libra, as we know, is an air sign ruled by Venus. And Virgo is an earth sign. It's the symbol of the maiden or the virgin. And so when we look at the synthesis of the air and of the earth, we can almost think of like a like a cyclone or like a dirt devil or dust devil, right? That's one energy to kind of personify the earth and the air. And also, air signs, of course, are governed by things like not only imagination, but more like thought, creative thought, mental activity. Virgo is more kind of grounded and in the body, but you still may be feeling kind of the transformative energies within you, within the universe, and how they're affecting you as you kind of continue to almost be this alchemical being where you are still kind of shifting and changes the things within your life, your environment, your finances, your relationships, and then also within your body, your physical appearance, your health, healthy habits, things like that. So very, very beautiful energies for the new moon on October 14th. We will talk about some eclipse magic here in a little while as well. So on the 28th, we have the lunar eclipse during the full moon. Again, unfortunately, not really visible here in East Tennessee, but in other parts of the country and of the world, they will be visible. We have that exact at 4:24 p.m. I believe, yes, and that is a hunter's moon. So we have the harvest moon here on the 29th of September, and then we have the hunter's moon in October. And looking at tropical calculations, the moon will be in Taurus. The full moon will be in Taurus, again, governed by Venus, just like Libra, right? So double Venus there, I like that. And then with Vedic calculations, the energy will be in Aries. So we kind of have, a revisit with this moon that we have in Aries with tropical astrology happening in just a few days. So I don't know if you're seeing a pattern here. I don't know if you're kind of getting the vibe of what is coming down the pipeline, but like I said, I'm excited about it. There are so many potent energies that are really adrift and that are coming into our awareness with these next 3 moons, you know, full moon, full moon, and then the eclipses as well. And as we know too, or let me just remind everybody like what a lunar eclipse is versus a solar eclipse. The lunar eclipse is when the earth is between the sun and the moon. Okay, so that's how we get that kind of, you know, shadow of the earth that kind of, you know, goes across the moon. And then a solar eclipse is when the moon passes between the sun and the earth. So when we think of kind of the energetics of that, right, when we think of the energy of the sun, solar energy, and then lunar energy, and then here we are here on Earth, you know, space rock, right? Here we are on Earth, and then with the lunar eclipse, the Earth kind of coming between the sun and the moon, being held in that balance for kind of a, you know, temporary time. Just imagine and kind of envision what energies will kind of be, you know, kind of coming at us and holding us at the same time until, you know, we kind of almost like emerge out of it, right? Like being born out of that eclipse energy. And then with the solar eclipse, as the moon will pass between the sun and the earth, right? Then we kind of have like that, just like drive by, you know, that float by of that lunar energy. And we see it, you know, move across. It is casting a shadow. The moon is casting a shadow on the earth. So when we kind of think about the celestial energies and how they, of course, you know, they do affect us, and they affect the animals, they affect the plants, and then we're able to witness it in real time in this, you know, in this accelerated pattern across the sky. It's quite amazing, right? It kind of takes us almost back to like our primal roots, where, you know, our ancient ancestors would see a celestial event like this and be like, what is happening? What is going on, right? And of course, there's, you know, there's so many mythologies and stories of, you know, the sun being eaten by the moon, or eating the moon, or, you know, like they're fighting. But they always come back to a sense of balance. You know, there are stories of different animals or creatures that might be, you know, engulfing one celestial body or the other. But there's always a return to balance. But it's something that we see, that we witness almost in its primal energy of, you know, in that sped up time, right? It's not a whole lifetime. It's not even a whole lunar eclipse or a lunar phase or a whole solar return, right? It's like sped up in the night sky or in the day sky, just in a few brief hours. So to me, an eclipse, oh, and of course, all of these celestial events, but to me, an eclipse has such a magic about it. It has such a almost a timelessness, like you're kind of held in this alternate timeline type energy. Now, you know, some people say that it's unlucky or unadvised, ill-advised to do any kind of magical working during an eclipse. There are things that I've seen where they say, oh, don't put your crystals out, you know, if you're doing some moon charging, if there's going to be an eclipse, you know, it's bad luck, you don't want that energy in there. But you know me, I'm all about growth and transformation and ripping that band-aid off, right? So, like, I'm all about, why don't we go ahead and just work with those energies? Why don't we go ahead and capture that energy? Make some eclipse water, right? And of course, you might not want to charge all of your crystals with eclipse energy, but if there's any crystals that you're using for transformation, for clearing, for cutting through the BS, having breakthroughs, manifesting, you know, letting go of what no longer serves you, and then bringing in with kind of that immediate, almost immediate emphasis. Charge your crystals, right? Charge whatever magical tools you use with that energy. It's very potent and it's very real. And I don't think that there's any energy that you would never want to work with. It's all about your intention, what the energies are that are present, and how you're wanting to apply them, right? So we have a comment here on Instagram that says, I have an Aries stellium, so I'm excited too. Yes. You know, and as we know, Aries and Libra are opposite each other. And we did have a recent, a few months ago, we had a shift, the nodes changed. And so we now are in that Aries and Libra kind of balancing act with the North and South nodes as well. And so I'm definitely feeling all of that energy, the Aries, kind of that equal opposite with the Venus. Yes, Mars and Venus, right? So we have such a beautiful example of equal opposites, beautiful in their own unique qualities, but how they can, of course, butt heads, right? But then also how they can truly complement each other, and how it's such a beautiful yin and yang and kind of tandem of energies as well. I'm going to use the Spirit Song Tarot deck, which I absolutely love, and get a nice, helpful, handy, beautiful tablet quartz with a little quartz family there. Got that here next to me. And I'm just going to ring this fantastic elephant bell that I have. I'm going to ring it just a little bit, just to kind of change the energy, shift the energy a little bit, and get ready for our card pull. So here we go. And isn't that great? It's a huge vintage elephant bell. I love it. I love the sound of it so much. All right, nice brass Indian elephant bell. All right, North Nose and Libra. Wow. Well, let's see. Your username is OatMe39. Well, you're definitely feeling these energies for sure. I'm sure this is a very potent time for you as well. All right, so I'm going to shuffle these cards here just a little bit. And I am first going to pull a few cards with the intention of what does this collective, what does the collective need to know? What is some helpful insight for us during this time? And I apologize, it looks like I'm kind of being cloaked in a bit of shadow here, maybe especially on Facebook, on my laptop here. Just right here in this natural, moody, overcast skylight here as the sun starts to go down a little bit. I'm hanging out in my sunroom, so apologize if I'm, kind of hiding out here in the shadows, but I think you can still hear me, and I think you can still see me somewhat. So again, like I said, we are going to focus our intention. I will focus my intention and channel for you. What do we need to know? What supportive energies or messages are available to us, the collective, as we move through this beautiful time of Virgo, Libra, moons, and eclipses? All right. What do we need to know? And here we go. So beautiful. All right, so I pulled 3 cards. The first card that I pulled is Ace of Shells. And I'll show y'all here. So Ace of Shells, and this deck, it's absolutely beautiful. Spirit Song Tarot, and each card has an animal totem on it. And then we have, of course, the major arcana, and then we have the minor arcana. And shells would be like cups in this deck. And of course, like I said, we have a turtle, and we have the Ace of Shells, which is beginning. The ace is the first card available in this suit. And the energy is of happiness, and the energy is of abundance. And so I feel like that first message, and we'll pull all these together as well, but the first message is that this is an optimal time for focusing on what brings you joy, what brings you happiness, and also calling in abundance. And of course, when we hear abundance, we hear that word, it's such a key word. We might think of money, which money's fine, money's just energy, but also like an abundance of good things. I mean, it could be abundance of crap, but let's not wish for that. But an abundance of things. It could be abundance of food, you've got a full belly, abundance of friends around you, abundance of celebration, abundance of, just good vibes, whatever it is. Of course, being super specific is awesome too, right? So if you've got something that you want a lot of, or you want more of, or just even more than you could imagine, abundance, of course, is a wonderful intention. And of course, just setting an intention for your highest good, for aligning with that is never frowned upon either. So Ace of Shells, happiness, abundance, and fresh starts, right? Fresh starts in that kind of energy that will help you kind of springboard and then bloom and blossom into this next chapter. And the next card that I pulled is the Three of Crystals. And the Three of Crystals is a honeybee. Crystals in this deck is like pentacles, pentagrams, or shields. It is an earth sign, an earth card. And this has to do with not only collaboration and working together, but the fruits of your labor, the productivity and seeing results. And as we know, like in a honeybee hive, there's one queen, right? There's one queen, and then there are different kinds of bees. We have the drones, we have the worker bees, there's little sentinels on the outside that all have their own job to do to make that hive successful, to make it productive, and to make it this, it has to be a cohesive unit in which every part does its part and every part knows its part, right? Every little part in the hive, everything contributing to it has a role to do. And so I feel that this can speak to two things as a message for all of us coming into the next month or so. Is that first and foremost, you might want to look at your life. You might want to look at your own life, see all the pieces, all of the puzzle pieces, what works and what is not working. What is like that needed to be kicked to the curb a while ago, right? And look at maybe the other pieces that haven't, made it exactly to you yet that you want to integrate. You either want to make room for, kind of shift and shimmy things around, or, what you really need to prioritize. So look at it from one viewpoint as far as your life, all the parts, and it could be like the puzzle pieces, all the parts, all the things that you do, but it can also be the people or the situations in your life as well. I'm not saying just like kick a bunch of people to the curb, but sometimes that's necessary, right? So then looking at another viewpoint, not just within your own life or your own world, but then also looking at, zooming out a bit and looking at the collective, whether it is your work environment, it is your friends group, it is your family, whatever includes more people and all of those working parts, and how can you be more productive as far as how you really show up and how you contribute and what you have to offer, showing up with your best intentions, showing up with your beautiful light and what you have to really contribute to the collective, to this beautiful production called life. And then also maybe being open-minded to, maybe you're feeling that you're growing out of a certain role that you held for a time or for a long time or your whole life, whatever it is. And accepting and realizing that you are maybe shifting and changing and you're getting ready to move into a different role in your life, or the people, the situations, work, friends, family, whatever it is, there might be different roles that people are kind of hopefully gracefully trying to maneuver and move into as well. So maybe keep that in your mind and make space for that kind of viewpoint with the Three of Crystals as well. And of course, the number 3 will indicate not quite foundation until we get to 4, but 3 is a trinity. 3 can be those kind of phases and those cycles. We have birth, we have life, we have death, we have phases of the moon, we have the maiden, the mother, the crone, Father, Son, and Holy Ghost, right? We've got all of it. And so it's really honoring, I think, those kind of phases and knowing that phases come and they go and they circle back around. So we can kind of count on it, but we can't really count on anything to stay stagnant or stuck or still forever. So the next card that I pulled is the Dragonfly. Such beautiful energies that are coming through tonight. The Dragonfly card. Sorry, it's so dark. Jeez. The Dragonfly is the 6 of feathers, and the feathers suit in this deck is air, right? Feathers and air. Air is our, it's our thought, our learning, our intelligence. It can be our communication as well. And this has to do with the energy of transition. And this also has that energy of insight and, being open to receive insight, whether it's just through, I'm gonna have to get closer. Jeez, you guys can see me, it's so dark. To where we can really gracefully transition through our life. But, like I kind of spoke about with the honeybee and kind of like moving into those different roles, into those different kind of seasons of our life. And dragonflies, when I see one, it's always a little mystical. It's a little magical when you see a dragonfly. And one time, I'll tell you a little story. I was sitting out on my front steps, and I have like a little pond, and it was kind of dusk, late. It wasn't quite dusk. It was kind of late afternoon, but the sun had kind of gone down a little bit, and I kind of looked up and I just saw this swarm of something, and I was like, no, they're kind of low. They're way too small to be bats, but they're just kind of zooming and diving. And it was almost a bat-like energy if you've ever seen bats at night, but it was a whole swarm of them. I mean, they were, I don't know, 50 or 100 or something like that. And I realized that they were dragonflies, and they were feasting on, I assume, like gnats or mosquitoes or something. And they're quite vicious predators, but they were so joyful and having so much fun just dipping and rolling and diving and eating, I guess. And it was just so neat to see this whole swarm and cloud of them eating and playing. That was quite magical, because usually you say dragonfly, you're like, oh, I saw a dragonfly, there was one. And this is like a whole, I don't know, does anybody know what a group of dragonflies is called? I'm sure somebody could Google it. I'm sure there's a name, like a murder of crows, or a parliament of owls. I'm sure there's a name also for dragonfly groups, but I'm not sure what it is. So if anybody looks it up or you know what it's called, you can comment and let me know. So looking at these three cards together, the turtle, the dragonfly, and the honeybee, there is such an energy of like hope and of beauty. And turtles, going back to that, sea turtles, this is a sea turtle on this card, can live for a very, very long time. And, if you've seen one like kind of struggling, like coming up on the ocean to like lay her eggs, or even the little babies that hatch out and then they're just so awkward and goofy and just kind of trying to make it to the ocean, right? They're kind of clumsy, I mean, they're big and they're heavy and it's freaking sand, I'm sure it gets everywhere. But they make it to the ocean and all of a sudden they are just like weightless and they just float and they glide and they're just with their happy little flippers, they're such a beautiful energy. I love watching videos with sea turtles and them like in the Great Barrier Reef or something like that. It's always so tranquil and so lovely to watch. But looking at these energies together, the sea turtle, the honeybee, the dragonfly, these all feel like very beautiful, strong totems that are really available for you over this next month or so. You might see images of these totems. You might, they might start kind of showing up on your radar. Okay, so Shannon says a flock of dragonflies is called, it's a flight of dragonflies. Well, thank you for sharing that. Seems like they could have come up with something a little bit like, how about like a whip or a zip or something? I don't know, but a flight of dragonflies. Okay, thank you, Shannon. But I think these energies have the ability to really show up in your life very obviously, very apparently. So see what bees, turtles, or dragonflies that seem to come across your radar over this next little bit of time, from now until the end of October. So I know it's getting like super dark and you can just barely see my face and like the glow of my computer, but I do want to pull one more card. I want to pull one more card as far as looking at this next lunar phase from moon to moon, from full moon to full moon, and see what other helpful insight there is for the collective, but especially for anyone who, of course, is feeling called to either be on the live or watch the video. I kind of see you as like, you know, like our special soul group or something. And so this message is specifically for you, and I hope it resonates with all of you. So one card for that magical message. Okay. And we have the cheetah. And the cheetah is the 7 of feathers. And we have the 6 of feathers with the dragonfly. So we have a little bit of evolution here, right? We have the next step in the journey. And the 7 of feathers, again, an air card, the cheetah, it has to do with not only resourcefulness, but it's preparation. And so I feel that the message with this, and whenever this card comes up, I always remind, you know, whoever I'm reading for, myself, is that cheetahs are amazingly fast, right? It's like, what, 60 miles an hour, something like that, you know, super quick burst of energy. But a cheetah is not running like the whole time, 24 hours a day, right? I think most of the time a cheetah is going to be busy napping, right? Napping or eating what they caught and then napping, right? So that burst of energy is really available to them, of course, because of their biology and their build and, you know, all of that fantastic stuff. But it's really because they have conserved their energy up until that very moment when they need it. And of course they can sustain that. They can kind of push through to get the prize, you know, but it's being resourceful with your energy. It's being resourceful with your time and with your intention. And I believe there's you know, also with the message of being like preparedness, is that, you know, like just even paying attention to this energy update, right? And kind of knowing what's coming down the pipeline. Of course, do your own research as well. But it's just saying, you know, this energy of a new moon, for example, is wonderful for, you know, releasing, letting go, and then starting the seed of that intention. The full moon is a fantastic time for realizing those manifestations or shedding light on something or just getting that extra amped up energy available in the full moon. So you can kind of plan whether it's your magical workings or it is your, you know, just your kind of your daily life around just the solar and lunar energies, not even talking about all the other astrological stuff going on, so that you are more effective, you are more efficient with your time and your intention. And, you know, it's that we don't really want to work on manifesting new love coming in after the moon is full, just because the energy is kind of flowing away. It's kind of the tide is going out, right? But we are more than welcome to work with energy of removing obstacles, you know, removing self-doubt or our insecurities or bad habits or getting rid of anything that's in the way, you know, of that fresh new love or of that, you know, higher timeline, higher vibrational connection. And so, you know, you just kind of modify and shift your workings based on what energies are really supporting your work. Why swim upstream unless you're a freaking salmon going to like make more baby salmon? You know, they only do it once a year anyway, right? Why swim upstream if you don't have to? Work with things, let things bolster you and support you instead of going against the flow.